All right, this box here is huge. It's bigger than my table. Let's see what's inside it. I'll bet it has something to do with Civil War weapons, though. Let's check it out. It even comes with a CD. And some paperwork. And a little bit more paperwork. Use black powder only. Shooting and safety recommendations from Dixie Gun Works. David Pedersoli. So it is a Pedersoli firearm that's in here. And it's a big old long box. I actually got charged oversized shipping for this one because it is definitely oversized. All right, let's get the box out of the way first because there's just not enough room here for all this. All right, there it is in all its glory. This is an 1861 Springfield. Big old gun. Yep, that's a big one. 58 caliber. So this is what the Union side would have carried around during the Civil War, and it is one big old gun. It is a percussion gun, and I've actually had this thing for probably over a year now. And I've taken it out of the box one time and then put it back in there and was just waiting for the right time to do a video on it. And I think today might be the day. Okay, here it is, the David Pedersoli U.S. Springfield, 1861 Springfield. A really cool gun. The most popular rifle used by Union forces during the Civil War because it was made in Springfield, Massachusetts. And it is, like I said, one big old long gun. This thing will really reach out there. 40-inch barrel on this thing. I think the overall length is like 56 inches, somewhere around there. It's a big one. Beautiful markings on everything. Nice wood on it. It is... The metal is in the white, which means there's no finish on it. It's just bare metal. Now, it was oiled up pretty good from the factory, and you need to keep it that way too if you want to keep it in pristine condition. We're going to go ahead and get this thing apart, and I'll show you how it comes apart and what you need to do to maintain this thing. Now, it has been proof tested from the factory, is what the paperwork says that came with it. So comes with some paperwork from Dixie Gun Works, which is where I got this one from. And we're going to load it with 60 grains of black powder is what the paperwork says from Dixie, and a 58 caliber minuet ball. This is a minuet style or a minuet type rifled musket. It is rifled, and you could get them in a smoothbore too, although I don't think it was the 1861. I think it was a different model. Same gun, but smoothbore or rifled. And this one is rifled, so it is a rifled musket. The minuet ball is not a ball at all, but a conical bullet. And I'm not going to put this in there, but it loosely fits in there. It's not super tight. And the reason for that is it made it easier to load if there was fouling in there. And the cone base on this bullet, when the powder went off, would actually cause it to expand and engage the rifling and set it spinning on its way down range. First thing we want to do to take this thing apart is let's go ahead and get the ramrod out. It is a steel ramrod, and it is cone shaped on the end there too to fit the ball, although I don't think it quite matches the ball that great. And we're not going to use the steel ramrod out in the field. I'm going to use my range rod, the wooden one, with brass on it, because steel ramrod in there, if you're not careful, rubbing it up against the rifling in there can do some damage, because this is just as hard as the actual barrel itself, where a brass ramrod is not going to damage it. One of the first things we're going to do, since I already got this in my hands, we're going to go ahead and drop this down in there. And you'll want to be careful, because with a rifle this long and the ramrod this long, you may go whacking your lights on the ceiling and stuff, but we're going to go ahead and drop this down in there. And we're going to take a Sharpie, which I have right here, and we're going to put a mark on there. So what we want to do, and I am resting this on my feet so I don't rub it up against the concrete floor, we're going to go ahead and put that Sharpie up against there, and we're going to turn the ramrod and put a mark all the way around it, and I think we'll write 61 on it. I can go ahead and fit the 1861 on there. That way I know what gun it's for, because I use this with multiple guns. I used it for the Cook and Brothers, or Cooks and Brother, the Confederate rifle. So I want to make sure that I know what mark is what on there. That is completely unloaded, so now I'll know at a glance, I can put the ramrod down there and find out if there is anything in it, should I happen to forget. Again, we'll get this out of here, and like I said, I mean, this combination is going to be pretty long, so watch where you're swinging it around and stuff. To get this thing apart, what we're going to do is we're going to take these barrel bands off. There are 3 barrel bands on it, the one towards the front, the middle, and then the one on the end here. And they are all marked with a little letter on. There's a U, and that's the side we want to keep towards the retaining clips here on the band. Now, I've already had this apart once just to familiarize myself with it, and what I have noticed is that these 2 of the bands are pretty tight on there to get off. I would suggest getting something like a soft face mallet. This is rawhide. It shouldn't damage the metal. And we'll give it a little tap just to get it started. Once you get it started on there, it should come off pretty easy. Set that to the side. Go ahead and do your next one. And I think this one actually came off a little easier. Yeah, that one was able to get off with my fingers. Set that off to the side, and then the last one. And that one's going to need just a little persuading. You don't have to really beat on them, but like I said, use a soft face mallet, something plastic or wood or rawhide, and then set that one off to the side. Now we can get it up here on the table where we can see some things going on here. And if you rest it on the table like that, the front of the stock is going to rest on there and the trigger guard will rest on there. And you want to get a good quality screwdriver. Now, I've always recommended some of these, the screwdrivers with the replaceable tips, because the tips on them are hollow ground. But this particular screwdriver right here, the bit, is from my the Wheeler Fat Wrench kit. And now those are specifically made for firearms. So you'll find that those tips will fit a lot better in multiple firearms than just your average replaceable tip screwdriver. So we've got the screw on the back here on the tang on the barrel, and we'll get that screwdriver down in there, and we'll get that screw taken out. It is a pretty long screw, but it's got some pretty short threads on it. And once you've got that out, go ahead and pull the screw out, and then carefully hold everything together. Stand it up, go ahead and grab the front of the barrel and wiggle it a little bit. You don't want to just pry it out. You want to wiggle it to get everything loose. And then you should be able to, you got to pull the hammer back too, because that'll be holding it in. Get it off of there, and you can go ahead and pull the barrel right out of it. Now your lock is going to stay on the stock there. I would go ahead and be real careful with it and keep it open like that, or you could set it, but I think it's going to go beyond where it should stop. Maybe put it in the half cock position. That way you don't bump it and send it flying anyways. Get your stock out of the way. And then to clean it, lay this thing down. Well, to clean it when you're done shooting for the day or whatever, take this thing, put it in the bathtub, hot soapy water to clean it out, because black powder residue breaks down with hot soapy water. Or you could use some hoppies or ballistol or something made specifically for black powder firearms, and get it all cleaned up, get it dried off, and then get you a light coat of oil all over the outside of it and a little bit on the inside if you're going to store this thing. Do it anyways. But before you take it out on the range, even if you've got it brand new, you haven't fired it yet, we're going to go ahead and run a couple patches down here. Get the right size patch. When you get one of these guns, you're going to want to get all kind of tools and parts and pieces and everything specifically for this caliber. Now, these are some patches I got here. These are from Ox Yoke. They are 2.5-inch diameter cleaning patches for 48 to 58 caliber, 100% cotton. And you're going to get a jag. And a jag is going to be this little brass piece here. You're going to put the patch right about in the center of it and get that put down in the barrel. And we're going to go ahead and give it a little twist as we insert it in there, and then get it shoved all the way down in there, and then pull it back out. Now, the neat thing about jags is people say, how does the patch come out if there's nothing really holding it on there? And you can see there's a little bit of dirt there. That's factory dirt, and I have run a couple clean patches down it already. There's still a little bit in there. before you take it out and fire it, you're definitely going to want to run one down in there. But the way a jag is able to pull that material out is all this on the outside here is excess. So when you put it on there and then that gets folded down all around the jag, there's bulk that goes into the tapered area underneath the jag, and that won't let the jag slip by it. That's why you need to have the proper caliber jag and the proper sized patches, because if you put one that's too small on there, it may get stuck down in the end. It's not the end of the world. They can be removed. We'll go ahead and turn that patch around and run it down in there again. And still a little bit of dirt in there, but I think it's going to be good enough for taking out to the range and giving it a few shots. We'll go ahead and get this thing put back together, and it's just the opposite of when you took it apart. Go ahead and put everything right back in the stock. This time I'll remember to pull the hammer back all the way to get it out of the way. Put the tang right back down in that recess. Let the barrel go right back in the stock. You can set it down, get your screw back in there, get it started. And I would recommend turning the screw backwards until you hear that little click there, and then you can go ahead and get it started in there. That way the threads are engaged properly, no risk of cross-threading it. Or I should say, less of a risk of cross-threading it. You don't have to over-tighten it. It's not that critical. You don't need, you know, super high torque on it. Go ahead and get your barrel bands put back on it. Take your largest one on first. Make sure the letter that's stamped on there is toward the side of the retainers on there. Might give it just a little tap until that retainer on there pops up there and keeps that from sliding off. Hopefully over time these will loosen up, be a little bit easier to take apart. Again, the letter towards the band piece there, or the retainer, that one pops right on nicely. And then you take the last one. Oh, it already popped on there, I didn't even hear it. Anyways, it's good to go now. We'll get this thing out on the range and give it a few shots. We're gonna go right out to the rifle range to see if I can hit some 100-yard targets, maybe some 50s first and then 100s. One of the things I did want to show you on here though is the sights. The sights are set, there's 3 sights on here for 3 different distances. I think your first one is 100 yards and it's not marked on there, it's just the lowest, shortest sight on there. And then you can take and flip that one up and it's marked with a 3 on there, which should be 300 yards. And then you've got another one on there that's marked with a 5 on there, up to 500 yards. The effective range on this was 200 to 400 yards, but was capable of 1,000 yards, maybe a little bit more than that. They were good, accurate rifles during the war, and hopefully this one will be a good, accurate rifle too. It's probably going to be way more accurate than me. Anyways, let's get our bag loaded up with the powder and everything, and we'll get it out in the range with some musket caps and give it a try. Okay, we're out here on the rifle range with the 1861 Springfield. And it is a very cold day out here today, and we're going to be shooting with, this is Swiss 2FG, so it is appropriate for this firearm. And I've got the powder measure set for 60 grains. I've got 2FG in here. Get that spout filled up and measure out 60 grains. Now ideally you would have a powder flask, and your spout would probably already be set to the 60 grains or whatever your charge is that you need. Of course, loading from your flask is kind of dangerous because if you've got a hot ember down in there and the powder's going down in, it could follow it up and set off your powder flask. So I've got the 60 grains. We'll go ahead and dump that right down here in the barrel. All right, now the cool thing about this rifle is you don't need a patch or anything to go with it. I've actually got the minuet balls or mini balls here in the ammo pouch, like it's supposed to be. If I can get one out of here. There we go. And you just put it right down inside there, and it goes in pretty easy. Like I said, these are made to expand at the base when the powder goes off. I've got my range rod out here. Like I said, I'm going to use it instead of the rod that is on the rifle. And these go down in there pretty darn easy. You don't need to hammer it or anything. So I've got the powder, I've got the ball. There's how much room it's taken up. We'll get this out of here. Geez, big old long one. We're going to go ahead and set it up here in the rest. Now this rest is a little bit short for this rifle because it's a little nose heavy. And I actually have caps in the cap pouch. Now these are musket caps, 4-wing musket caps. And see if I can get just one of them out of here, because nope, I grabbed 2. We'll put one back in there. Go ahead and pull the hammer back to half cock. Go ahead and put that musket cap on there. And they fit on there nice and snug. That's a nice thing about them. Now I've got a target set up at 50 yards. We're going to go ahead and give it a try, see if I can hit it. All right, pull the hammer all the way back and we should be ready to go. All right, I can't tell from here whether or not I hit it, but we'll go ahead and pull that hammer back, get that cap off there, pull it back to the half cock position, and we will go ahead and load up another one. Now what we're going to do is go ahead and get our powder measure filled back up. And with this spout, it's going to take me like a couple times. Now I am going to let that sit for just a second while I get another cap out, because even though I'm not loading directly from my flask or my powder flask, I don't want to risk a hot ember down in there. So I'll grab another one of the musket caps, set it off to the side, and we will go ahead and get this dumped down in there. All right, powder's in there. Now the rate of fire on these things during the Civil War was could be 2 to 3 rounds per minute, depending on how skilled you were. So powder's in, bullet, ramrod, it's down in there. We'll go ahead and get it on here again. Put another musket cap on it. Take another shot. Now, I don't know if you noticed in the first shot there was a little delay. It was a kind of a pop pop, and then it went. That one there seemed pretty much instantaneous. Let's go down there and take a look at the target, see if I was able to even hit it. Now I'm not going to leave this thing in here because, like I said, it's nose heavy, and the hydro sled just wasn't made for this type of rifle. I've got one shot right there, and I've got one right there. Those two weren't there before, so it is shooting considerably high, so I can adjust for it now that I know where it's hitting. And I'll probably have to aim right down here at the bottom of it to be able to get right up there, because that's maybe a little below the bottom of it. All right, I'm going to go ahead and load up another 60 grains here. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take another shot at that 50-yard one, and I'm going to aim quite a bit below the target and see where it's at. Now a 50-yard target, yeah, your point of aim is going to be considerably different. So it's set up for 100 yards on that first setting on there. So we're going to see if I can hit the paper at 50 yards by aiming considerably lower, and then we'll take a shot at the 100-yard target and see if it's where it needs to be. Okay, I believe that's all the way down in there. All right, we'll pull it back to half cock, get that old primer off, the old percussion cap off there. Get another one out of the pouch. We're going to aim quite a bit below that paper on there this time and see how we do. All right, let's give it a try. Well, I can't see anything from here, but we're going to go ahead and load up another one, and we'll take a shot at the 100-yard target next. Okay, powder first. Another minuet ball. We'll see if this one goes down a little bit easier after running that brush in there. Oh yeah, a whole lot better. All right, we're going to take a shot at the 100-yard target and see how I can do with that. After I pull another cap out of here. Get the hydro sled adjusted a little bit. Oh no, I do not have enough elevation on there. So, looks like I'll fire it semi-offhand. That was a hit. Nice little ding there, and it swung that target pretty good because that 58 caliber bullet's got a little bit of weight to it, and that was pretty nice. Looks like it's dead on at 100 yards anyways. I like it. Okay, here we go. 60 grains down the barrel. Another Minuet ball. Okay, we're going to put our next musket cap on there, and we're going to give it a shot totally offhand at the 100-yard target. This thing is heavy. It's got some weight out there. Oh, I missed. Pretty good shooting gun though, and great for reenacting. So is the outfit here. I got the outfit from C&C Sutlery. And they didn't give it to me, but they helped me hook up with everything I needed, and they took my modern sizes and then converted it to what I would need to wear, you know, to fit me, because sizes are a little different these days than they were back then. And the rifle itself is approved for NSSA, the North-South Skirmish Association. So if you're into doing any reenacting, you can check out C&C Sutlery to get the outfit. I got the rifle from Dixie Gun Works. I don't know if they're in stock right now. Like I said, I've had it for quite some time, and it's a pretty darn good shooting rifle, that's for sure. It looks good. It's a little pricey. I paid right around 1,200 bucks with shipping and everything, and plus it being oversized, they charged me a little bit more, so it was right at the 1,300 bucks with tax and all. But a darn good looking rifle for sure. Now I'm going to take this thing back into the dungeon and get it all cleaned up and put it away until the next time I want to get out and do a little plinking with it. Anyways, thanks for watching Small Caliber Arms Review. If you could, reach up here and hit this button to check out some of my other videos, and hit this one down here to subscribe if you haven't already. And thanks for watching.